It seems that as of recent days, the Trey Hendrickson trade rumors have caught fire yet again. It's been a back and forth. He was allowed to seek a trade, and then, it was talked about contract extensions. Those were happening. He was going to stay in Cincinnati. And then recently, late last week, earlier this week in the weekend, Cincinnati, Trey Hendrickson could be further apart than most people think. That's what we're talking about on today's show. Thanks so much for joining me. You're watching the Ravens Rundown. I need you guys to do one thing for me, and that is subscribe, because I'm trying to get 30,000 subs today. 29,827 is the number. That means we're 173 away from 30,000. If you guys could just do me one simple favor, hit that sub button, lock us in right now. We give you daily videos in the Baltimore Ravens. We cover this team wall to wall every single day. Anything you could want, draft rumors, trade news, team news, anything. You could find it right here. So help me get to 30K by subscribing right now. So before I even put this out, I can already read all the comments, okay? I can read everything you're saying. Joey, interdivision trades never happen. Cincinnati would never trade Trey Hendrickson to the Baltimore Ravens. They hate each other. Not going to happen. AFC North, blah, 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 all that stuff. And to that, I say this. You know what? Interdivision trades, while they used to be a little bit more uncommon, they've kind of become a little bit more common as of recent. Christian Kirk to the Texans, that was a big one that happened a few days into NFL free agency, or was it a few days before free agency? Jahan Dotson was dealt to the Eagles in the middle of last year. Jordan Phillips to the Cowboys in the middle of last year from New York to Dallas. And then a big one a couple years ago was TJ Hawkinson from the Detroit Lions to the Minnesota Vikings. So while they're not as common as just regular trades are across conferences, across other teams that have nothing to do with each other, that doesn't mean they're never going to happen. Let's catch you up on everything that's going on with Trey Hendrickson. Katie Blackburn, the external vice president of the Cincinnati Bengals, had a lot to say talking about how he should be happy at certain rates, that maybe he doesn't think he'd be happy, and then going on to say, we all have respect in the world for him. He's been a great player. We're happy to have him. And so maybe we'll find a way to get something to work. That's a very interesting thing for an external vice president to say about a guy who not only led their team in sacks, the worst defense in the NFL, but also the entire National Football League. Then Trey Hendrickson, on April 2nd, went on to the Pat McAfee show, and he said those comments from Katie Blackburn were definitely disappointing, and communication has been poor over the last couple of months. It's been a little bit frustrating, and if they have anything they'd like to discuss, we're definitely willing to listen. So it just seems that neither side can come to an agreement. It seems that Cincinnati is kind of just, I don't want to say not responsive, but it just seems that they're a little bit kind of want to take it back, the fact that they wanted to start these contract extensions in the first place. Hendrickson had more to say. The one thing I was hoping was an April Fool's joke was that article. Called my agent, found out it was not. That was a little disappointing because our communication has been poor over the last couple months. That is something I hold in high regard. They have not communicated with my agent directly. It's been something that has been a little bit frustrating, but again, this is the business of it. So Trey Hendrickson thought that Katie Blackburn's comments were an April Fool's joke, which just goes to show you that Cincinnati is a train wreck. It's a train wreck. They happen to have landed one of the best quarterbacks over the last 10 years or so in Joe Burrow. We have one of our own as well. They've happened to landed probably the best wide receiver in the National Football League in Jamar Chase. They got a really good wide receiver too in T. Higgins. Outside of that, the way that this franchise is ran, their decision makers, everything that goes into the Cincinnati Bengals, it is a train wreck, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Those two guys got locked up on massive deals just about a month ago. Jamar Chase got 4 years, $161 million, an average of $40 million with $74 million guaranteed. T. Higgins got 4 years, $115 million, $28.7 million on average, and guaranteed $45.9 million. So let's get back to Trey Hendrickson. What say you guys? Should the Ravens trade for him? Give me a yes. Give me no in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. Be Eric DaCosta. Make this decision on your own and let me know in the comment section. So like we talked about, they've already got a lot of money due to their current players on the roster. They've got some good current players. Joe Burrow, they've got $35.2 million cash due. Jamar Chase, they got $19.3 million cash due in 2025. And T. Higgins, a whopping $35.9 million, even more than Joe Burrow. So all of that goes to say it would be dumb, in my opinion, for Cincinnati to pay Trey. I know Trey Hendrickson is a wonderful talent. He's so wonderful, I want him to be wearing purple and gold in about a month's time. However, with the money that Cincinnati has dedicated elsewhere to their offense, and with how bad their defense was, even with Trey Hendrickson, it just feels like they would be handcuffing themselves. It feels like they would be hamstringing themselves if they sign another massive contract and have yet another player to pay massive money to in 2025. He's been wonderful, though. I mean, absolutely insane. I think he might be the most underrated player in football. 17.5 sacks last year. In 2023, another year with 17.5 sacks. Had a down year, quote unquote, with only 8 sacks. But then a year prior, 14 sacks in 2021. Let's look a little bit more into 2024. His freshest season. 46 total tackles, 19 of those for loss. Had 36 QB hits and forced 6 freaking fumbles. This dude is a menace. And we all know, because I've talked about it a ton over the last couple of months, how big of a need that edge rusher is for this team. I think it's a massive need, okay? Kyle Van Noy, Adafe Owe, they had fantastic years. Outside of them, this pass rushing was left a little to be desired. Let's just put it that way. They struggled on getting to the quarterback on a down-by-down basis. That's not something that Trey Hendrickson struggles with. You add him to this defense, and this thing is automatically flipped on its head. So coming up, I'm going to talk a little bit about what a trade would look like. What would Baltimore have to give up to acquire a guy like Trey Hendrickson? And then what would they have to do after they acquire him when it comes to the money? But before that, do you want to save money? If you do, go ahead and go to our great sponsor, Game Time, for the best last-minute tickets. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Ravens Rundown. And what I love about Game Time is they provide the easiest way to get tickets on short notice. Also, I love Game Time's low prices because you get to spend more money on hot dogs, pretzels and beer, and it's easier to get a larger group of together at the ballpark without everyone's wallet taking a hit. Game Time has an awesome feature. It's called Zone Deals. Game Time Zone Deals allows customers to purchase tickets for a general area of a venue rather than specific seats, offering potential discounts and flexibility for last-minute ticket buyers. With Zone Deals comes the potential for lower prices. Zone Deals can offer great discounts compared to standard ticket listings, of course. Game Time is known for the last-minute ticket sales, and Zone Deals can be particularly useful for those looking for deals closer to the event date. What I love about Game Time is the app is so easy to use. You look up a team, Baltimore Orioles. For the next couple of days, they got their games listed. You click into a game. Let's go next one at Camden Yards against the Blue Jays. You get the aerial view, right? Sometimes they pop up these super deals on the Game Time Picks feature. Then you click into that super deal. This is the best part, in my opinion. You get the view from your seat. You can see exactly what you'll be seeing before you even get to the stadium. Then, boom, you're checking out. Make sure you use this code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. We are so kind to offer that to all of our fantastic listeners right here on the Ravens Rundown. So take guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. Alrighty, we've talked Trey Hendrickson trade, but it's easy to talk about something, right? To say, you know what, would you do it? Would you not do it? But it's hard to answer that question unless you see what would possibly be on the table. So here is my trade idea. The Ravens would receive Trey Hendrickson and also their 2025 second-round pick from the Bengals, which is number 49 overall. The Bengals would get a 2025 first-round pick. Now, I know that's a lot, especially for a guy who is aging, but we also have to realize he's got 35 sacks in the last 2 years. And so because of that, to give up a first and get Hendrickson in a second, I would do this trade. I would do it. I would think about it a little bit. It wouldn't be as much of one of those. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this in a heartbeat without any kind of hesitation. But to get a guy in here like Trey Hendrickson to shore up this pass rush, to kind of complete this defense, and then you can look in the draft and focus on rounds 2 through 7, which you have 2 second-round picks, a third and 2 fourth-round picks, of just using those draft selections to shore up the secondary. Maybe add a little depth to the linebacking core, to the defensive line, interiorly, to the interior of the offensive line. You get all those things figured out, adding Trey Hendrickson to this team, to this defense that's already, had a great end to this last year, I think could be incredibly dangerous. So you let me know. Would you accept this trade? If so, give me an A for accept. If not, go ahead and give me a D for decline. Let me know your answer in the comment section down below. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. Don't worry about it. Go down in the comment section, type an A or a D. So Baltimore has the money now to do this. They don't have a ton of money. I'm not going to sit here and say they're one of the richest cap space franchises in football right now, because they're not. But I don't think they'll have this money for long. I project Trey Hendrickson to get a contract of 3 years, average of $30 million a year, $90 million total. He is at the age of 30, so he's not going to get any of this crazy money. I don't think he's going to get Myles Garrett money, who got $40 million this past year. But if you look at the top edge rushers and their kind of amounts they're making, he'd be at number 6. Or he would be at number 4. He'd be right above Josh Hines-Allen. That puts him squarely in the top 5. I think that's exactly what he deserves. And any bit of more of that, I think, would be a little bit of an overpay. So I don't think they're going to have money, because they're about to have a lot of guys they're going to have to spend money on. Tyler Linderbaum, Kyle Hamilton, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Those are 4 guys that I can see being extended over the next couple of months. Let's start with Tyler Linderbaum. I expect him to get somewhere on 3 years, $15 million a year. He's been the absolute cornerstone of this offensive line over the past couple of years. I don't think he'll make Creed Humphrey money. I think he's making somewhere around $18 million a year. I think Tyler Linderbaum could easily be the second highest paid center in this game. Kyle Hamilton, that's a guy who will be the highest paid guy in his position group. Coming off a season, 107 tackles, 9 pass breakups. I expect him to get somewhere around 4 years, $22 million a year. Of course, that would put him at number 1 in safeties contracts. Lamar Jackson, give me a 5-year extension, $63 million a year for Lamar. He would be the highest paid quarterback, and in my opinion, that's exactly what he deserves to be. And then King Henry, in his second year of an $8 million deal, I think that gets bumped up to $12 million, adds 2 years onto that. Also saves the Baltimore Ravens a good bit of money on this year's cap space. So Trey would be great, but I don't think Baltimore's going to make a move. You heard John Harbaugh speak last week, and he said he's really happy with the way this roster looks right now. He's really happy with the way this team looks right now. And I think he'd be confident with this team going into 2025, and I don't think that's that ridiculous to say. Now, would I love to add a guy like Trey Hendrickson? Of course I would. But I don't think it's going to happen. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button before you get on out of here. Remember, we're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers today. So if you're still watching, it's obvious you love the content. Make sure to lock us in by subscribing.